Hi, my name's Colleen Murray. I will be brief. I'm also with the Family Council. I'm also an attorney with the Public Defender's Office, and I also represent inmates at the parole hearings. I didn't really have a prepared statement. I've scribbled down a few things. First, I do believe drugs in prison account for most of the problems that are in prison, and I think anyone that has a loved one in prison who really cares about that person does not want to have drugs in prison. But I don't think this is the way to get rid of the drugs that are in prison. They did mention 5 ways that they get in. They did not mention staff or correctional officers. I'm not here to bash on staff or correctional officers, but I do believe that a lot of drugs do get in that way, and there have been various stories in the media about that. I'd like to echo all the comments that I've heard from Dale and Gail and Marcy. I agree with all of them. One of the things is I have never had any sort of drug conviction at all. I went to Berkeley, I went to law school, I worked at the Public Defender's Office. My loved one has never had any sort of drug conviction. And the whole time that he's been in prison, he has never had one write-up. So why is he going to be punished? I do think there are people that smuggle in drugs, and I think those people should be targeted. I think often the prisons know who those people are. As was testified to, they listen in on conversations, and I welcome that. All our conversations are listened in on. I don't have any problem with that. All the mail is read. I don't have a problem with that. But I think they should target those people instead of once again having a problem with a few and applying it to everyone. So many things have been taken away from inmates who are incarcerated, and there's really not much difference now from those who program and those who do not as far as what they get. Family visiting has largely been taken away, weights have been taken away, other programs have been taken away at the prisons, and once again they have a problem and then they take that privilege from everyone instead of focusing on, you know, a way to fix that specific problem, such as having people sign an affidavit saying, yes, I prepared this package, I personally prepared this package, I'm sending in this package, and I'm responsible for everything that's put in this package, and then having it notarized. I mean, legally you could go back on that person, so I do think there are other things that can be done besides, oh, let's take all the packages. Even the ways, I'll conclude with this, even the ways that they mention, such as, you know, contact visits, mail, etc. I mean, are they going to now strip search and do a full body cavity search of everybody going in? I mean, we think that's ridiculous. I don't know if that's going to be introduced in another 2 years, because that's the way drugs get in. Again, I do believe drugs get in the prison. I think they are the biggest problem with prisons, but I just don't think this is the answer. I very much appreciate you listening to my comments, and I'd urge you to vote no.
Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Linda Warner with the California Catholic Conference. As stated before, we ended up, many of these families of these inmates are very poor, and with the high cost of long-distance phone calls and transportation costs, because many of these prisons are in remote areas, and these low-income families are not able to travel, we do not yet want to create another barrier to keep these families disconnected, so we urge your no vote. Thank you.
Thank you. Did you have one other, do you want to make a statement, ma'am?
Good morning. I'm Marilyn Elkins, and I'm a mother of a lifer. My son's been down 24 years. I can't tell you all the things that have been taken away in these 24 years that were available when my son first entered prison. He's been a model prisoner, and now to have the family package taken away gives just one more blow to the family. These are special times, and I'll hurry because I'll just iterate how special it is for me as a mother, for his sister or for his father to go and purchase that special item, put it in a box, or his nieces and nephews to send to him. And this is where the bottom line is to me, is cutting into the families again, taking more away from the families and the family support. I mean, you know yourself, if you go out to buy something special for your wife or your mother, or you just write a check, there's a big difference in that. And then to have that money taxed also. I just thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you. Senator Brulte, you want to respond?
Thank you.
Question, Senator Vasconcelos.
I came in late, Senator Brulte, but was it covered that the estimated incidence of drugs from this methodology is 3%?
No, it wasn't covered at all. The question was raised as to how much had been found, and the CDC believes they only find about 3% of what goes in. They did not say only 3% is as a result of this program. Thank you. First of all, let me say I understand this is an issue on which people have strong feelings. I met a representative of the families at an airport on a Thursday or a Friday when I was flying home, and I had a chance to meet with some of the families the following Monday. Understanding how important it is to them, we scheduled a meeting at the earliest time I was in Sacramento and had a chance to meet with Dale and some of his other members. The biggest issue that was raised to me was the additional cost relative to the Victims Restitution Fund, and so I think we've taken an amendment to deal with that. Look, we know we have a whole series of programs that CDC doesn't work. Senator Vasconcelos has a bill that I'm actually just about there on to see if we can begin the process of understanding on the front end needs and problems that inmates have when we in-process them, so we can make sure that the recidivism rate is done as much lower at the back end. This is a very, very limited bill that applies to one institution that tries to get at a specific problem. This does not require the CDC to do a system-wide program. This is one institution with a pilot program that will be in effect for 2 years to see if we can take a current program where we know contraband and illicit drugs are coming into the prison and try to weed them out. It doesn't make much sense to continue to allow that. I'd also like to ask this committee to work with the families, those who testified today, to put into the record all of the press coverage that they talked about. The last witness asserted, for the record, that there's vast amounts of documented press evidence where correctional officers bring drugs into prison. I'd like to have that put into the record, and I would ask you to do that. Finally, on page 5 of the analysis, you refer to a Department of Corrections drug reduction strategy at 3 prisons, Solano, Ironwood, and Pleasant Valley. I would certainly like to make sure that the legislature has access to that. If that's a program that began in 1999, it would be nice for this committee and the rest of us in the legislature to have access to it to see if it works. We've got to do a lot better job of understanding at the front end which prisoners are drug addicted. We have to do a much better job of treating them. And we have to do a much better job of making sure that while they're in prison, they don't have access to those illegal substances. Now, I understand that families have strong feelings on this. I've worked with inmate families for the last 4 years with Senator Haynes as we've tried to get the Department of Corrections to change their program on long-distance calls and phoning, because I think a case can be made that right now legitimate state operations are being funded by inmate calls, and I find that to be an outrageous activity, and I'm still committed to trying to overturn that. But this is a very small project at one institution that we think is worthy of this committee's support. Ask for an aye vote.
Thank you. Any more comments by the committee? Motion, amendment. It's moved by Senator Marquette as amended. Call the roll, please.
McPherson?
Aye.
McPherson, aye. Vasconcelos?
Pass.
Vasconcelos, pass. Burton? Marquette?
Aye.
Marquette, aye. Romero? No. Romero, no.
Okay, that is 2 to 1. Need 4 votes. The other members will be coming. Needs 4 votes to get out. Let's see, Senator Cedillo was here. He's gone. But now,
Deal with Gio had bills on call. Don has been here a lot, but it is Carnett.
okay, Senator Carnett.